joining you today. Olivia, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So today we're going to talk about the National Day of Civic Hacking. So do you want to tell us more about that, or Todd, do you want to talk about that?
Introductions and introductions.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course. So first I'll talk about where Devar and Todd and Carrie are from. They are from the Open Innovation Agency SecondMuse. So Devar is Skyping us from Washington, D.C. Carrie is from Albuquerque, and Todd is from Portland, Oregon. So they're going to, as I said earlier, they're going to tell us about what they are doing there and what the National Day of Civic Hacking is and what's going on with it.
Yeah, so I'm Imogen, and it's pretty exciting, especially for me at this point in our summit, to also bring in a creative team who are looking at civic engagement across communities in different innovative ways. This is Robin.
Oh wait, everyone smile to Adriel. Say hi. We're ready. Alright, cool. I'll be quiet now. Go ahead.
So without further ado, let's get started, I guess.
Yeah, wonderful. So we are, as I mentioned, at SecondMuse. We're also live on YouTube right now, joining your summit. And SecondMuse is an open innovation agency, and we strongly believe that technology, together with community collaboration and human ingenuity from people like yourself, is what's going to help solve a lot of the big problems in the world today. And for the past 7 or 8 years, SecondMuse has been involved in some major mass collaboration projects to a point where I think we've really changed the landscape of the U.S. federal government and major corporations in terms of how they reach out to citizens for innovation. I wanted to just briefly introduce Todd Cozine, who is one of the founders of SecondMuse, and he is a pioneer in this kind of mass collaboration. Also, Carrie Freeman, who is joining us from Albuquerque, New Mexico, is a managing partner at SecondMuse, and she manages a lot of our open innovation programs with NASA, Nike, the United Nations, and also is a former director of sustainable business innovation at Intel. So yeah, Todd, why don't you just tell us about your experience with mass collaboration and why you even thought it was important to go to the public?
Sure. Thanks, Tamar. Like if you think about different problems that we can solve, if you think about kind of like a super complicated problem, the way that oftentimes we solve problems is you get somebody who's like really an expert. You go to school and you get your undergraduate degree, then you get your master's, then you get your PhD, and you know more about this thing than anybody else on the planet, and so you're the best person to actually solve this really specific sort of problem. But the problems that you guys are talking about in this summit, like the big environmental problems and stuff like that, those aren't complicated. Those are like, the word that we use for that is actually complex, meaning there's actually lots of different moving parts going on sort of all over the place. And what's, even though like, being super smart at one specific thing is actually really good, where solutions and really good thinking tends to come from is from people that just think differently. So diversity of thinking is probably more important even than just like super deep expertise around it. And again, that's not saying that expertise is bad. It's just saying that when we're solving some of these problems like environmental, like why is the climate changing? Why do we have big water problems? It's not just about like one thing, you know what I mean, that we can just fix. There's never going to be a silver bullet. It's about humans and our interaction with the planet, and it's about waste, and it's about how we use energy, and I mean there's so many different sort of moving factors that somebody coming in, anybody coming in, regardless of what your background is, you can bring a fresh perspective to it, and your fresh perspective might actually be super important to actually solving the problem. So what we started doing with mass collaboration is saying, okay, let's get these really deep experts that understand these problems really well, and instead of asking them for the solution, which is kind of like an impossible thing, let's get them to help explain what the problem actually is. And then once they explain what the problem actually is, then lots of people from all of our backgrounds, from everybody sitting in the room can actually come with a super fresh perspective and actually might be able to bring something a really key important. And it doesn't matter if you're 12 and live, in the jungle, or if you're like a PhD on something else, it doesn't actually matter in this case, because you can actually bring sort of like a really key piece of sort of intelligence that can help us solve the problem.
Carrie, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think one of the key things, and that it kind of leads into into National Day of Civic Hacking, which we'll also talk about, but is the role that technology plays. Even 30 years ago, the ability for people to really join in and collaborate on solving problems and share ideas just wasn't as possible. And now with technology, proliferating every type of technology and reaching all corners of the earth, the ability for people to really connect and solve problems and really understand from each other is just that much more capable now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we did want to talk to you about the National Day of Civic Hacking, because that is an event where you can all be participating. The website is hackforchange.org. And Todd, did you want to say a little bit more about the National Day and how it came about? Todd is.
Sorry, are you with me? I'm still working out how to unmute.
Speaking of technology.
Yeah, see, this is when I can use the help of an expert. So probably about 4 years ago, there was a conversation that started with some folks at NASA and some folks at the White House and some folks in an organization called Code for America. Wait, what's that? Yeah, so it's a conversation started with a number of people that kind of realized this idea that communities coming together could solve.
Not worth it. Could you guys hear what was going on?
They can't hear us, I think.
Oh.
That's okay. Is it hard to hear us?
Oh, we can hear you now.
It is, but we're dealing with it, right?
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, we're gonna let Todd explain the National Day of Civic Hacking, but I also wanted to encourage you guys in just a few minutes. We're also going to be on Twitter, where we can actually continue the conversation, and it might even be easier to do in 140 characters than on a Google Hangout. So we're extending the conversation.
And what I'm going to do is just try to relay as you're talking. I'm going to just try to repeat what you're saying. So okay. Todd's going to explain what this National Civic Day of Hacking is, which is one day a year where people can come together to work on solution problems, right? We're not talking about computer hacking. We're talking about just finding innovative answers to environmental problems. So Todd's going to talk about what that is, and Todd, if you can just say it in a way where I can repeat back to the audience in every few sentences or so, so I can relay what you're saying, and then we can go from there. So.
Totally. We could also do it in interpretive dance if you prefer, Hannah.
I have my interpretive dance shirt on, so.
So I mean, so that's exactly what it is. I mean, in this case, government agencies, whether they're at the local government, like your city's government, like the mayor's office, or at the state government, or at the federal government, like the big federal agencies, these agencies have data. If it's like the Department of Transportation, it's data about bus routes and whether what's going on with the roads, or whether it's like other agencies, whether it's like NASA, they have data about kind of what's going on with the planet and stuff like that. So all these agencies have lots of intelligence about something, but don't always have, there's a limited number of people working in these places, and so the brain power in these different organizations is obviously limited. And so
let me interpret. So there's a lot of data out there that's not used or is interpreted in one way. There's massive amounts of data that our government and scientists and environmentalists are collecting from the field and from technology. So we are in a data explosion, and any one person can never interpret or use that data to its fullest potential. Data is collected for a project, but after that it sits And so this data is available, especially when scientists publish their data and when the government, most of their data is freely open for anyone to use. So when you get creative minds taking a new look at data that's available, you never know what kind of really interesting discoveries you can make from the patterns that that data might represent.
Yeah, and another example of mass collaboration, if in the interest of time, I just wanted Carrie to briefly mention Space Apps, which is a massive event that NASA and SecondMuse just finished producing, where 200 cities from around the world, 60 countries were involved using NASA data to innovate. Carrie, did you want to briefly talk about Space Apps?
Sure. Let me just do the intro. So Carrie's from Albuquerque, and she's going to be talking about a multi-60 country project called Space Apps, where they use data from NASA.
Sure. So some of you may or may not know that NASA has really the largest set of planetary and space data in the world. So a lot of the climate models that are generated that the International Panel on Climate Change uses and other scientists use, almost all of it, not all, but almost all of it comes from NASA data. So it's satellites that are that NASA has been put into space over the last several decades, and they, in addition to all the other federal agencies, have the mandate to really make useful tools out of those and help people get engaged with the data because there's a wealth of information. And so Space Apps is that opportunity for people all around the globe to engage with their data. And the challenges that are put forth, there's 5 big challenge areas, and those include ones like getting to Mars and ones about Mars, but they also include ones that are very focused on improving the situation for the planet that we live on from an environmental perspective. And as Devara said, this is an amazing opportunity for people to engage at the global scale on solving some of our big challenges.
Yeah. So Space Apps represents a mass collaborative opportunity for people to participate global-wide. Space Apps itself has 5 initiatives and challenges that they've issued for people to dive into NASA data and use it, but there are certainly other initiatives and questions that with your inquiring scientific minds you could also use and utilize NASA data to try to answer.
Yeah, so we actually want to continue the conversation on Twitter. We want to thank you so much for including us to be part of your day at your summit. I know that you guys are also looking at water challenges and innovating around some of the major issues that we have in our country and around the world around watersheds and water resources. So wishing you the best of luck. We will be sharing resources around previous hackathons that SecondMuse has produced with the World Bank around water. So we encourage you throughout the day to look at the hashtag Green Schools 2016 for resources and links as you at the summit look at some of the water challenges that you have on your agenda. So Olivia and Ojen, Hannah, wanted to thank you so much. Did you have any last-minute thoughts?
No, thank you. You covered everything very clearly.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much. And Hannah, are we good?
I think we are, Devar. Thank you so much. And we will do our best to relay what's going on and encourage everyone to be tweeting. So we'll be looking for, some of these opportunities that you'll be posting on Twitter with the hashtag. And I'll be encouraging students to jump in and reply and retweet, and this is great.
Absolutely, yeah. And really just to say that this kind of social storytelling helps us activate a larger community around these environmental issues and challenges that are important to all of us. So that's another reason that it's good to get together, have these minds come together as thought leaders with you, the now generation, as Green Schools has said in the past. So thank you so much for having us.